So, welcome back, and right now I'm just going to explain what we're about to do. Now, the mini project is that we're going to recreate the VM Technology free today design graphic design class advert, the post that we posted in order for you guys to come here. So the first thing from everything that I've been saying is that the first thing whenever you get a design, the first thing you want to do is think about the target audience, the people that are going to see the design. Now, this is in the thinking phase. As a graphic designer, like we've established, you have to do a bit of thinking and research in order for you to know the end goal of the design. Now, the next thing for you is to think about the end goal of the design. What do you want people to do? We wanted people to click the link to register. We wanted people to register for the class. So we put it there. Click the link to register. Now the next thing you want to do is think about how well you're going to pass the message. When you've gotten all your research, you've done all your research, you've done everything that you know, you've done your research, you've done, you know, the target audience, you know, the people that you want to communicate to. The next thing for you is to write the message on how, write the message down. How are you going to pass this message? The next thing for you to do is to gather resource. Like I said, in the paid class, we will go in depth on how to do all these things. Like, we will actually open Google, we'll have a project, we will do research together, we will gather pictures, we will gather text on how we'll gather text, or we'll craft a message, and we will actually work on an original brief. But because of this is an example and a beginner's lesson class for you guys, we're just going to recreate the ad, and I've gone ahead to gather the resources. I think I might even have to gather the resources here, but once I gather the resources, I would then start designing. So let me just head back into Photoshop. Let me head back into Photoshop now and then start designing. Now, when you open Photoshop, the first thing you want to do is create new. Then you want to come here and then you want to put it in pixels. Photoshop works in pixels. Pixels are also type of size. Like you can see, there is inches, centimeter, millimeters, point pickers. But as a designer, everything like graphic design, I've been working as a graphic designer for about 2 years now. I mainly just do pixels. Inches is very huge. Sometimes when you try to work with inches, if your system is not that powerful, it might crash. But pixels is what I use, and depending on what you are designing for, it can be if it's an Instagram ad, everything has a size. Everything has a size. The profile picture you use on Instagram has a size, which is 1000 by 1000. The Facebook header that you are designing has a size, which is 1000 by 500. So one thing you should also know as a designer, you want to know the size of your design. You want to know what size are you going to design in, because you don't want a design that when you finish designing is the wrong size. It will not fit well in the box. These things are all programmed, they are all working together. So when the size is the same size as where you are uploading it, it's going to sit well. So the next thing you want to do is note the size that you are working on. So right now it's a Facebook ad or Instagram ad is basically 1000 by 1000. So now that I have that put in, the resolution is usually 300, except you are working on a larger document, you are working on a larger file. That's when you now use something like 600, 900. But since we are not working on something very huge, 300 is a good number for you to put your designs. The RGB color, you don't have to mess with it. You can change it to 16-bit if you want. You can change it to 16-bit. The background content white, you can leave it as white, and then you can just press create. Then once you press create, it's going to create this new folder for you, new file. New means like you're on a new Canva. So the next thing you want to do is, remember, we're recreating this guy, we're recreating this picture. We might not be able to recreate exactly what is going on here, but I am going to just show you the tools that Photoshop, that you can use in Photoshop, that are basic tools in Photoshop that you can just make use of and get a design going. So the first thing I'm going to add in the VRM Technology Present, and I'm going to add in 2 days free training. Now in Photoshop, these tools, these are all the tools. This is like the move tool, this is the This is like a rectangular marquee tool where you use to select things. But let me go to the text tool. In Photoshop, everything works for something. You can't use another thing for another thing. The text tool is used to apply text. The move tool is used to move things around. So everything works for something. You can't just use anything for anything. So right now, what we want to do is add a text. So how are we going to do that? First thing we want to do is press the text tool. This is the text tool, the one with the C. So I'm going to go to the horizontal text tool and I'm going to add my text, which is VREM technology. VREM technology. VREM technologies. Okay, now that I have that, I just selected it using Ctrl A. Remember, in the paid class, we're going to go more in depth on how to use the Photoshop tool. Now, as I select it, I want to change my font. In order to change font, I will come here. I want to change it into something that I like something that is more very nice. And I'm a Montserrat person. Hopefully, there's Montserrat here, but I'm going to look for something that is very that I like. But basically, as a designer, you don't want to use things that you like. You want to use things that are of industry standard, because you are not designing for yourself, you are designing for a company. So you want to use a serif font. Serif fonts are, let me just explain the difference between a serif and a sans serif font. Now, I'm going to just quickly explain what a sans serif and a serif font is. Now, this is a sans serif font in the sense that it doesn't have this edgy things. I'm going to duplicate this now, and I'm going to show you what I mean. You might be wondering how I did that right now. I used a shortcut called this is a duplicate shortcut called Ctrl J to duplicate this text. Chap. So in order for me, let me just show you the difference between the sans serif and the serif font. Now, this is a serif font. I'm going to go to the sans serif. Now, okay, no, let me go to the serif font. Now, this is the major difference between a sans serif font and a serif font. Now, in a sans serif font, the sans serif font does not have this edgy thing going on here. Like, it doesn't have all these pointing things going on. You will see that the sans serif font is just plain straight. It doesn't have that thing pointing out from the edges. So that's the difference. The serif there is edges. It means edges like this. But sans is without. So it basically means without serif. So when you say a font that doesn't have that curvy, like that thing pointing out of the edge, is a serif font. Is a sans serif font. So when you see a font that has the thing pointing out, that's a serif font. The one that doesn't have is a sans serif font. So going back to our design, Z is for zoom. You hold Alt to zoom out. Yes, now I'm going to remove that out. I'm going to remove the serif font. No, I'm going to remove the serif font. So now that I have my VREM technologies there, I'm going to move it. Remember, you can't use anything for anything. You have to use the move tool to move anything that you want to move. So before, I was on the text tool. The text tool is used to type, while to move what you've typed, you have to go back to the move tool. The shortcut for move is V. So I'm going to move this technology. Now, again, you will notice that when I try to move it, I'm moving it right now, it's not moving. What's happening there? It's because I have not selected the layer that I want to move. I'm on another layer. Photoshop works in layers. You have to select what you want to move first in order for it to move. Remember, in the paid class, we're going to cover more in depth of Photoshop. We're going to do a lot of tutorials and classes that covers more in depth of Photoshop. Now, I have selected the tools that I want to move, and now I'm going to drag that. Now you see it's dragging because I have selected it. Photoshop works in layers, and I'm just going to explain layers in a bit. So I'm going to position this here, and I'm going to reduce the text. How do I do that? Double click, it selects the whole thing, come into the layers panel, and I'm going to drag on this part. just going to drag it down. You see it's 4, 5. I want to leave it at 10. I'm going to teach you guys a practice right now. Since my text is at 10, I'm going to make it more bolder because I want it to be bold. And then I'm going to do the next one. The next one is going to be present. I duplicated it again. Remember, Ctrl J. I will send you guys a picture that has all the shortcuts already listed out there. So the next thing I want to type is present. Present. Now present. Now since there's a huge like how to use typography, since this is 10, I'm going to divide 10 by 2 and then make, because I want it to be smaller, I'm going to divide 10 by 2 and make the one under 5. That's a good practice a good practice while using fonts. So I'm going to change this to 5 because the one on top is 10. So present is very small, but because of the practice, but because it's too small, I'm going to increase it. I don't think even you said you see that it's too small. So let's just increase it a bit, so that we know that it's different from this one. Remember, emphasis and movement. So I'm going to put this under VM technology. This Photoshop has like this thing that helps you know when something is well aligned. Now remember I said you cannot move anything without selecting that layer, but there's a way that you can not come to this part and you will still select any layer you want by moving to this, activating the auto select. When you activate the auto select, you can drag over anything you want on the canvas and it picks the two together, and then you move to wherever you want to position your text. Now the next thing you want to position, remember we're trying to recreate this. Might not be the same thing, but we'll just try and recreate it. Like when you want to, the next thing you want to do, you want to add the 2 days. Now remember, you can't use the move tool, you have to go to the text tool. 2 days, I'm going to put that in right now. I'm going to put that in 2 days. It's very small, but just give me a few. I'm going to make it big. Now, how do we make it big? We go to the properties of the text tool, and then we're going to make it 20. Not really, but because we don't want emphasis on this one, so we're just going to make it 10 too. Or 12, anyone. But not anyone, because the basic, what I'm trying to achieve here, when you use 10, you know, when you want to try and go bigger, you times it by 2, use 20. If you use 40, when you want to go bigger, you times it by 2 and you use 60. But if you want to make it smaller, if you use 10 and you want to go smaller, you divide it by 2, you go to 5. So I'm just going to put the 2 days there, then I'm going to add the free class. Free. I think the class is under. I'm going to separate everything so that I'm just going to separate everything. It's free. I'm going to make different layers for them. That's what I mean. Free class. So now that I have my free class, I'm going to put this, remember to move, get the V, then I'm going to put this under here, then I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it bigger. Ctrl T is the tool to transform, and when you want to transform, you have to hold Alt Shift down in order for it to have the right proportion. You don't want to, because if you just transform anyhow without holding Alt Shift, it's going to lose proportion. But I think this one is actually holding proportions together. This is the latest version of Photoshop, so I think they've upgraded and they've made everything that you don't have to hold Alt Shift again. It actually doesn't. I don't need to hold Alt Shift right now, and it's working very fine. But before, lower versions of Photoshop, you have to hold Alt Shift down when you are scaling things into bigger proportions, because you don't want it to lose shape. You don't want your text to lose shape. So I'm going to drag this to here and put this somewhere here. It doesn't look really nice, but we're going to make it work. Don't worry, we're going to make it work. So I'm going to get the class and bring it under the 2 days here. Yes, this is an alignment. Remember, alignment is very important. But I'm going to Ctrl T and I'm going to Alt V maybe I'll drag my anchor point to somewhere here. I'm going to drag this out. Yeah, so that the class is bigger. And I'm going to bring the free on top of the class. Yes, I'm going to do this. Then I like using the ruler to guide me in order for me to fit the free inside the class. So I'm going to fit the free right now inside the class so everything is cohesive. I'm going to just drag this in Alt Shift. I'm used to it. No, right now because it's the latest version of Photoshop, if you hold Alt Shift, it actually starts to unskew the text and makes the text look really weird. So if you are using Photoshop 20, which is what I'm using right now, you don't have to hold Alt Shift. And Ctrl Z is undo. So just drag this in. You see it's already sitting. I'm using the alignment of the class to set my text, and then I press enter. Everything is well seated now. Then the 2 days is not sitting well, so I'm just going to like adjust that. No, you see, I tried to move it with the while I was on the text tool and it didn't work. So I'm going to go back to the move tool, and then I'm going to drag, maybe reduce it, and then put it in 2 days free class. Boom. So you can see that the 2 days is on small on one side and the free class is there. We are trying to lay emphasis on the free class, not the 2 days, because you will see the free class first and then you will now see the 2 days last. It's not exactly the same, but I'm just going to align with Viren Technologies here. Voila. It's not the same, but I think we are getting somewhere. So for movement's sake and emphasis sake, I'm going to change the color of the free class to red in order for us to like make emphasis on the free class. Then I'm going to change it to red, and then we'll have more. Look at it, contrast. Immediately the design just lights up, looks more fun right now. Like immediately I love the design. It's already like making more sense because of contrast. Remember we talked about contrast and alignment. So right now the design has popped. Now I think the free class is really big, but I will just try. Maybe let me just reduce it a bit. I think it's way too big. I don't like it. Okay, I think I like it this way. Yes. So 2 days free class in what? In the next thing to do, the shortcut for text tool is T, is to put in what? In digital marketing and graphic design. Now I'm going to make this. Remember, we've already thought about what we want our audience to register for. We want them to register for a free class, digital and graphic design, digital marketing. I forgot the marketing and graphic design. It's way too long, so I'm just going to press enter here. And I'm going to change this to a that and this type of and. Well, it's not. I don't think this font has it, but I'm just going to leave it like this for now. Okay, I'm going to enter here and I'm going to bring the graphic design up. Yes. So now that this is here, 2 days class in what? Remember, we've thought about it, we've researched, we know what we want our customers to do. So I'm just going to bring this under here and align it. You see, I'm playing like alignment is very important. I'm going to put this here. Now we know that Viren Technology presents 2-day free class in graphic design and in digital marketing and graphic design. So it feels, I don't think it's way too big. We want emphasis on what we're offering free class on. So I'm just going to realign well. Yes, I'm going to realign again. Then I'm going to probably reduce the size of everything. I'm just going to like reduce the size of everything so that it feels cohesive. I don't like the place too big. So now that I've reduced the size. So we have Viren Technology presents 2-day free class in digital marketing and graphic design. What do we want them to do? We want them to register. Click the link to register. You see, I've already thought about all these things before I started designing. So I'm going to put my call to action. Marketing is very important as a graphic designer. That is one of the things that you have to understand. You have to understand marketing. Marketing helps you to be in the shoes of the person that is hiring you, because mostly the person that is hiring you wants to get known and prominent. So you have to know, okay, how to make this person known and prominent. So the next thing I want to do is like make it contrast, like pow, let people see it, make it pop, contrast. When they see the free class, they want to register instantly. I'm just going to put what I want them to do, call to action. I want them to click the link to register. Click the link to register. Now that that's in, way too big, I'm going to reduce the size. I'm going to reduce the size so that it fits in the box. And then I'm going to put that on top. Now this is where I'm going to really explain what layers mean in Photoshop. Okay, I think it's fine like this. I'm going to explain what for you. Now, if you come to this layers panel where my mouse is hovering over, you will see that once I bring this under the rectangle, you can see this is rectangle layer and this is the click to register layer. Once I bring it under the rectangle, what did you notice? You will notice that the click the link to register is no longer visible. It's under the rectangle. It's under it. That's what's actually happening now. So just notice what happens when I bring the click the link to register on top. You see it comes on top, like it's visible now because the layer is on top the layer of the rectangle, and that's the way Photoshop works. It works in layers. When something is under, it's the thing that is on top is what's going to be visible. When you bring that thing on top, it's going to be, that one that you brought on top is going to now be visible. Now I'm going to change the color of the text inside the box to white. I use the color picker. Color picker is like picks color of anything that you want. So I just pick white here, click white, and it changes to white. So now this text is white and white is on red, which goes well too. So I'm just going to press OK and then clear this guy in. And then I think what is going well. Let me try and just adjust a few things. I think I'm going to move this up a bit. I'm going to move this up a bit. Yeah, align well. Yes, I'm just going to move this up here, keep it in my alignment. That's the thing about all the recent Photoshops, they have alignment tools in them that can help you know when something is not aligned properly. So I'm going to leave this here and I'm going to drag everything because I feel like there's an anchor point that we're missing out on. I'm going to bring this somewhere here. I think this is perfect. Now I'm going to add the final text here, like the contact info, because that's like the last thing we want them to see. When people like look at the 3-day digital marketing class, they see maybe they see the link, they click it. Most people just click the link, but some people sometimes want to ask for more information. So I'm just going to add more information parts, like we're going to add more information here. So we're going to change this color to red, which is like, remember we talked about using unison colors, using colors that are okay, you're not using blue on one side, using red on one side. You want to use colors in unison. So we're just going to bring this up a bit. Then we're going to add the website and the phone number. So in order to do that, go back to the text tool and then you add let's say the website. So let's add www.viremtechnologies.com. Now I'm going to reduce the size of that. Ctrl A to select everything, then go back to the text tool. I'm going to reduce this to 5. Yes, then I'm going to drag it on top. Now, still going to emphasize on layers. Now, you see that I put it on top now. It's on top, it sits on top because the text is actually on top the rectangle. Remember, once I put it under, it disappears because it's now under the rectangle. You want to bring it on top. So now, I bring it back on top. It's back on top. Now, I'm going to change the color because remember, unison, you want to keep everything unison. You want to have a uniform design. You don't want to have something totally different on your design. So you will see on my box where they click to the links register, the text on the box is red. So why would I leave the text on the next box black? Makes no sense. Because I'm trying to achieve unison, I'm going to go back to the white color. Makes sense like this. Now you can see I've noticed a bit of mistake here. I'm going to go back and correct it. There is space in between my .com. There's no space in any website. So I'm going to just enter. Then the next thing for me to do, I want to add a phone number. Which is going to be 0. I'm just going to add mine. Now the text is white. I don't like. Let me just quickly change the color of the text to black so that we can see what I'm typing while I'm typing. No, it has changed. You see, it has changed the color of my variant technology to black because I was on the layer of variant technologies. So I'm just going to Ctrl Z, which is undo. Then I'm going to create a new layer. You see, layer 1 is out there. I'm going to just type 08105858305. You can't see the text because it's all white, and I'm going to change the color to black so that you can see that I actually typed something. Oh, it didn't work. So I'm going to type it now. Let's do the plus. 234 08105858305. Now that is in, and I want to put that on top this layer here because that's where our contact info is. Now, because I want to achieve unison, what am I going to do? I'm going to change it to white. Now it's white. I believe it's the same size. Sorry, let me just fix this. Okay, it's white now. I'm going to just enter here and I'm going to V. V is to move. That's the move tool. Now you see that I'm moving the rectangle because my auto select is selected here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press Ctrl Z and I'm going to remove auto select because I want to move the number. I don't want to move the rectangle. So if I move, because now it's not auto select, if I move any layer that I select is what is going to move. If I select this rectangle, that is what is going to move. But I don't want to select the rectangle, I want to select the number. So when I select the number, it's what is going to move. That is what's going to move now. So I'm just going to position this well in alignment with this. You get? It doesn't really have to be in alignment, but I'm just going to align it because it looks well in my eyes. As a designer, you have to know when something looks well. I feel like it's balanced, there's nothing missing, it's just really working. And now I'm going to put a call to action here because in our own design we have for more information, call or WhatsApp, so this number. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to add that extra information right there, extra call to action. So I'm going to put, let me change the color so we can see what we are working with. So for more info, call or WhatsApp. For more info, call or WhatsApp. They know what to do next. They won't call or WhatsApp. When you read that, you obviously look for the number that you want to call or WhatsApp. I'm going to make this a cap. I'm going to make this a cap 2. I'm going to make this C a cap 2. So call or WhatsApp this number. Obviously, when you think you are going to, obviously you are not going to call or WhatsApp any number now. You are going to call or WhatsApp a number. So the next thing your brain is going to look for is a number. You are helping the viewer think. As a designer, you have to help the viewer think. Now I'm going to readjust this. I'm going to go back to my auto select now because I want to select plenty things and I don't want to have to start picking all the layers one by one. So I'm going to activate my auto select and I'm going to select all these guys so that I can balance my text very well. Yes, I think we are there. I think it's looking very well. It's not that shabby. Everything is working together. I think so. Then I'm going to click out. Then I'll select this guy, move it up a bit. Okay, so I think everything is working well. I think so. I think in my eyes it looks really, just adjusting it, making sure everything is well positioned. And left to me, I feel like everything is balanced, it's working very well. What's remaining is the picture. Now I don't have the picture right here, but I would go online. Remember, in the paid class we are going to have more in-depth on how to do this, but I'm just going to Google a picture of guy holding laptop. let's put African American holding laptop. Now it's going to pop out a lot of images. This is the image I used. This is the image I used. Now there's a way to get pictures from this site, but I will not go into that right now. But I will. So I'm just going to get his picture. I'm going to get his picture, and we're going to let me just save it. I'm just going to save it for. Don't worry, in the paid class, like I said, we're going to explain more on how to do all this, how to get pictures from all those sites without paying. It's not everybody knows how to do it. So now I'm going to quickly remove the background of this picture. This is for free for you guys right now, but in the in-depth class we're going to like explain more right now. Or better still, I could cut the image in Photoshop, but because we are racing against time, I'm not going to show you guys how to do that. I'm just going to show you a trick that I normally use to remove backgrounds. So I'm going to go to remove BG. It's a site called remove BG. It helps me to keep my work very fast, and I normally use it to remove the backgrounds of pictures. So I'm going to upload the image which I just downloaded right now. I'm going to upload that in, and it's going to, you'll see what's going to happen. It's going to remove the background of this picture. Voila, easy. And I'm going to download the picture, my picture without background. So now I'm going to take that in to Photoshop. First thing first, let me put the circle. Let me put the circle that the guy is going to sit inside. The circle, I'm going to select the circle, and I'm going to probably create a new layer. I think this is create new layer. Yes, and I'm going to add a circle, holding shift. Then I'm going to draw a circle. Remember, we're trying to achieve balance. So when the circle is to make sure that there's balance in the whole design. So once the circle is in, you look at the design again and you will see that okay, this thing is balanced. Then I'm going to select the V. Think it's balanced here. I think it's balanced somewhere here. Okay, I think it's balanced here. Then I'm going to place the guy inside my design, which I will go to place embedded. I'm going to go to place embedded, and then I'm going to just quickly place that in. Okay, so you will see that I've got my guy in there. I'm going to make him bigger. Like I said, normally you have to hold Alt Shift if you are using another version of Photoshop, but since 2020 is here, you don't have to hold that. So you will notice in my own design, I have the guy, some part of the guy in the circle and some part outside. In order to achieve that, this is what you are going to do. What you want to do, you want to clip this guy, the guy image to the circle. You want to create a clipping mask. When you press that, you will see the guy instantly enters inside the circle. He's now inside. So how do you achieve the trick? By duplicating the layer on top. You make a duplicate of that layer. Quick shortcut to do that is Ctrl J. That image is being duplicated on top that one. Then you want to add a layer mask. In the paid class, we will dive into more tricks that you can use in Photoshop. Then you also add a layer mask. Then you want to go to the brush. The brush tool is going to clear out. Now this is what is going to happen. When you look at this side, the white, if the white is on top of the black, it means to reveal. If the black is on top of the white, it means to hide. Now I want to hide some parts of the guy. I want to hide him. I don't want some parts to be revealed. Now, okay, so now I'm going to put the image, some part inside the circle and some part outside. It's just a trick I learned, which I'm just going to show you guys. There are other tricks that you can check online, and other tricks that I will continue to show you as we progress together. So what did I do here? I just came here. I have the image, one image inside the circle and one outside, and I have put a layer mask over the image that is outside, and now I'm going to brush the parts that I don't want to see, and I'm going to leave the parts that I want to see. So now I'm just going to, I've come here, I've selected the brush tool, and now I've also come here and I've seen that the black is on top. If the black is on top, it means when I brush, it's going to hide. While if the black is on, if the white is on top, when I brush, it's going to reveal. Let me just quickly show you. When the black is on top right now, you see when I brush, that part is hidden. It just goes out. It goes out of the picture. You see? But let me switch it out. Let me switch it out so you see what I'm saying. Now the white is on top. You see when I brush, it shows. So it's like you have to interchange depending on what you are doing. If you want to hide something, there are different tricks to using this trick that I've just used right now. But for the sake of this video, I want to hide the part. I want to keep some parts outside. I want to keep some parts inside. So I'm just going to go back to black, and I'm going to brush over the parts that I don't want to see. Now I'm going to go in because paying attention to detail is very important. And I'm going to brush in. I'm going to reduce the size of my brush here. I'm going to reveal this part because I don't want some parts to not be showing. So I'm just going to reveal here just like this. I think it looks weird, but I think I'll just take away his whole hand. I'll just remove the whole hand so it just looks like only the laptop, just his one hand. So I'm just going to remove the whole hand. As a designer, you have to pay attention to detail very much. You have to think and you have to pay attention to detail. So see, I've removed the whole hand. It now looks like no hand was there before. So it's just the guy holding the laptop with the hand, everything looks together. So I'm going to zoom out. You can see some parts are inside the circle, some parts are outside. It's a really nice way to design. So now everything looks a bit skewed together. Now I'm just going to balance the whole thing. So I'm going to balance the whole thing. I'm going to drag this guy. I'm going to Ctrl C. And then I'm going to reduce it. Yes, you see, everything is coming together. You can see everything is coming together. Voila! I think we are done here. I think we are done. Let me just do this. Then let me play with this guy small. Let me bring him inside. Yeah, and I'm going to select everybody. And I'm going to drag it inside a bit. Thank God for Photoshop and the alignment tool. See, it shows me that I'm in the middle. Then I am going to do something. Let me try just. Should I bring it down? I don't think I should. I feel it's alright there because it looks well balanced, looks well aligned. Then I'm going to just drag only this clip to where it's starting like the way it is. I'm going to give it a bit more space. Yes, and I'm going to bring it in here so that it's aligned with star marketing. And yes, and I'm going to let me see what can I do again to make this design look much better. So I think I'm just going to leave this here. Then I'm going to bring this for more info in to align with digital marketing and graphic design. And I'm going to bring the number into okay, and then I'm going to touch the different technologies a bit. Wow. And like that we have a recreated version of our design. So I'm just going to last thing. As a designer, you have to think, you have to look, you have to really pay attention to detail, and you have to like question yourself as a designer that, oh, does this thing look nice? In my own opinion, I feel it is nice, I feel it's alright like this. So if we are to read our designs, the first thing you will see is free class, the next thing you see is 2 days, even though I feel the 2 days is too small. Let me drop this free class a bit so that the 2 days can breathe. Then I'm going to increase, like bring these 2 days up here. Like this is breathing, everybody is breathing, everybody is fine. I think the free is a bit, I don't like the way it's like, oh wait, let me return it back. It's alright. It's fine like this. So I feel everything is breathing, everything is well balanced. We have laid emphasis on where we want to lay emphasis on. The pictures are contrasting well, the colors are working well, and I feel this is a design that is ready to go. If you send this to your client right now, he will pay you extra, he will love you the more. But right now, I'm just going to quickly show you guys how to save, and I'm just going to save. Normally, you have to save, especially if you're using a desktop that doesn't have battery. So you have to save. In order to save, this is Photoshop 20. I think it's different for various Photoshops, but it's kind of the same thing. Save on your computer, and then I'm just going to save it I'm just going to save it on the desktop. I'm going to save it on the desktop as the file name. This is saving as the file name. I'm just going to save it as Photoshop design Yeah. So I'm saving, look at the save type as, it's saving as a Photoshop document right now. So I'm going to save that first, press OK. You see saving 99% done. Then I want to save as a picture so I can send to my clients. That is different, that's a different way to save. Now there's a shortcut for it, which is Ctrl Alt S, which will pop, if you press Ctrl Alt S, it's going to pop out the option to save. But because we are not yet used to shortcuts, as we move forward we will learn more shortcuts. I'm just going to use the normal way, which is save as. You know, before I click save, it's now saved. The save is no longer activated, but when I press save as, it's going to bring this option up. I'm going to save on computer, and here watch what I'm going to do here. Remember, I did not do this before. I just saved my file so that in case never take light, I will not lose my document. But now I'm going to actually save as a picture so I can send to my clients depending on what they want. Sometimes they might want it like PNG. Now this PNG, there's a difference. Picture formats are in two formats, JPEG and PNG. PNG doesn't have background. Like that picture that I removed the background, it doesn't have a background. It's a PNG file. The PNG keeps a picture without background. Now the JPEG has background. It will, even if it doesn't have background, if you save a file as a JPEG file, it will automatically put a white background to it. So right now I'm just going to save as a JPEG file. Remember, I want to send this to the client. You don't send except they want the Photoshop file, like the raw file. That's when you'll be sending them the PSD file. But I'm just going to save this as a picture file. That is what I will send to the client. So when I want to save as a picture file, I will come inside here, select save as type, and I will select JPEG. And when I select JPEG, when I press save, you will notice what's going to happen. It's going to ask me maximum. I usually just increase it to the large file, and I'm going to press OK. And like that, it has saved as a picture, and that is what I will now send to the clients. Let me go back and show you this. You can see it right here, Photoshop design class. You open that up, it's a picture. You can send this to your client, and it's happy. It's going to work with you again. So that is how you work with Photoshop using the basic principles of the designs that I have explained before. Everything is balanced, the contrast is working well, no color is standing out, distracting the viewer's eyes. The viewer's eyes is seeing free class, he's saying click the link to register first, and that is how you use the basic principles of design to do a proper design. So with that being said, we have come to the end of this class, and I thank you all for joining me. I look forward to seeing you in the paid class. I am Shodan by name. Peace out.